Top 10, top 10, top 10, top 10, top 10, top 10. Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're checking out top 10 greatest British World War II films of all time.
These are 10 of the greatest British World War II films ever made,
Bridge over the River Kwai.
plus one home front thriller so startling, I had to sneak it in as a bonus.
Okay.
The man Noel Coward plays isn't just a character. He's a direct line to a Royal Navy legend.
Okay.
This is the film that wrote the manual for the stiff upper lip. You're watching the story of a destroyer, told in flashbacks by its survivors, as they cling to a life raft. Co-directed by Coward and a young David Lean, it was pure propaganda, designed to steady a nation's nerve during its darkest hour.
Oh.
The ship is based on the real HMS Kelly, commanded by Lord Mountbatten. Mountbatten was Coward's close friend, and not only gave him the story, but allowed him to lift passages from his actual speeches to his crew. The captain's words of encouragement you hear are the real thing. Its power comes from that bedrock of truth, one of the sharpest blends of propaganda and cinema, authentic, immediate, and unforgettable.
Wow. So that was straight up propaganda, apparently. In Which We Serve, 1942. Is that the year it was made, or the year it took place? Let's look it up. IMDb. David Lean is an amazing director. I believe he directed Lawrence of Arabia, In Which We Serve. Oops, spelled it wrong. In Which We Serve. Noel Coward's In Which We Serve. Is this the same one? Nominated for 2 Oscars. Noel Coward, there he is. Also directed by Noel Coward and David Lean. Okay. Noel Coward wrote... Oh! This is who he was talking about. Of course, I should have known. Yes. This is the story of a British naval ship, HMS Torrin, from its construction to its sinking in the Mediterranean during the action in World War II. The ship's first and only commanding officer is the experienced Captain E.V. Kinross, who trains his men not only to be loyal to him, but to the country, and most importantly, to themselves. Well, they face challenges at sea and also at home. They lose some of their shipmates in action and some of their loved ones in the devastation that is the Blitz. Throughout it all, the men of the Torrin serve valiantly and heroically. Did it come out in 1942? Because the war wasn't even over yet, right? Pretty sure. Show me the year. Oh yeah, 1942. Wow. Wait a minute. What year did World War II end? I thought it was 45. Yeah, 45. Wow. 3 more years to go, but it had already been going on for about 4 years by then. Wow, okay. I guess I'd be interested to watch some of that. The fact that it's straight up propaganda makes me say, nah, but it would be interesting to watch, wouldn't it? Move on.
It might be the most satisfying glass of beer in cinematic history. You're in the North African desert after the fall of Tobruk. Your only way out is a clapped-out ambulance. The real enemies here are the relentless heat, the treacherous sand dunes, and the gnawing paranoia that one of the people you're trapped with is a German spy.
Ooh,
it's a masterclass in suspense, watching these exhausted souls get pushed to their absolute breaking point.
That's beautiful.
By the hostile landscape. And that legendary final beer scene, it's completely authentic. John Mills was a teetotaler at the time. After hours of filming under hot studio lights, the director had him drink real ice-cold lager, take after take. That look of pure, unadulterated bliss on his face, that's not acting. That's the genuine shock and relief of a parched man. It's a film that truly earns its iconic payoff. A masterclass in tension, where the ending is worth every drop of sweat.
Wow.
The single greatest piece of casting in any war film.
Is that
might just be in this one.
Oh, okay. Back up here a second. There's some beautiful shots in this one. Ice Cold in Alex. Oh, and then the beer, and it's called Ice Cold. Ice Cold in Alex. I've never heard of it. Great premise for a story. The enemy is just the environment and the paranoia that someone might be a German spy. John Mills, Anthony Quayle, Sylvia Sims, Harry Andrews, Diane Clare, Richard Leach. Storyline. A group of army personnel and nurses attempt a dangerous and arduous trek across the desert of North Africa during World War II. The leader of the team dreams of his ice-cold beer when he reaches Alexandria, but the problem's just, oh, Alexandria, that's Alex. And so I guess through the whole movie, he's dreaming of this beer. Wow. Oh, man. I don't drink much, but I know, like, that first sip of an ice-cold beer. Yeah. This shot right here, that is beautiful. He downed that beer, too. He basically chugged the whole thing. This guy looks very familiar. Forgot his name. Anthony Quayle. Anthony Quayle, yes. Where do I know him from? Lawrence of Arabia. Lawrence of Arabia, of course.
The single greatest piece of casting in any war film might just be in this one. Sink the Bismarck isn't a flashy action movie.
Okay.
It's a cold, procedural account of the Royal Navy's hunt for Hitler's monster battleship. You're not on the deck watching cannons fire, you're in the underground war room, watching men push models across a map, while the fate of the Atlantic hangs in the balance.
It could be good.
It's a pure, nerve-shredding game of chess, where every single move is life or death. The film's anchor to reality is actor Esmond Knight. He plays the captain of the HMS Prince of Wales. In real life, Knight was a gunnery officer on that exact ship, and was partially blinded during the actual engagement with the Bismarck. 19 years later, he stood on a film set to reenact the most harrowing day of his life.
Amazing.
That's not just a fun fact, it's a symbol of the film's chilling authenticity. A story that carries the ghosts of the real battle in its very frames.
Sink the Bismarck with an exclamation point. Sink the Bismarck. Looks like it was remade in 2021. We don't care about that one. This looks like it could be really good because it seems like the kind of film that would pull you in and it brings you along for every moment of suspense. I like reading the trivia. I've not been doing that, but let's check out some of the trivia. The Bismarck's crew was made up of just over 2,000 men. Following her sinking, only 114 survivors were rescued. The last successful film with Kenneth More in a major role. Esmond Knight actually served as an officer on board the Prince of Wales, right. To help give the movie a sense of dignity and seriousness, Edward R. Murrow was added to the cast. That was him, okay. I haven't heard of any of these, which is really strange, because I consider myself a movie guy.
The Skies, over southern England,
Battle of
summer of 1940. This isn't just a backdrop, it's the entire battlefield. Battle of Britain is a grand, old-school epic about the RAF's desperate outmanned defense against the full might of the Luftwaffe. You're watching a story told from both sides of the conflict, focusing on the sheer scale and strategy of the air war. It's a huge, sprawling film with a legendary cast, but the real stars aren't the actors, they're the planes. To pull this off, the producers assembled their own private air force, one of the largest in the world at the time. The problem?
What?
Finding flyable German aircraft. So they used Spanish-built planes, many of which, ironically, were powered by the same British Rolls-Royce Merlin engines as the Spitfires chasing them. So in many scenes, it's Merlin versus Merlin. It's a thunderous tribute to practical filmmaking at its most ambitious. A stunning spectacle shot with real planes, real nerve, and a touch of engine irony.
Amazing. Oh my god. Wow. Was that Michael Caine in there I saw? To use real planes? My gosh. I can't imagine the logistical nightmare that must have been. Way to go, Guy Hamilton. Director. Michael Caine was in it. Okay. Trevor Howard, Harry Andrews, Kurt Jurgens, Ian McShane? What? Ian McShane? He played Sergeant Pilot Andy. What? Hang on. Ian McShane in Battle of Britain. I want to see if there's any... No. That can't be him. Oh, there he is. Whoa! Oh, that's so weird. For any of you that don't know who Ian McShane is, he's the Deadwood guy. Amazing. This guy. You recognize him, right? The Deadwood guy. The bartender at Deadwood. Wow. Good for him. He's been working a long time. I didn't realize that.
General Boy Browning. The British officer who famously worried they were going a bridge too far. his real story is even more compelling than the film lets on. This isn't a film about victory. It's a sprawling, star-studded autopsy of a military disaster, Operation Market Garden. You watch a plan that was brilliant on paper completely unravel due to bad luck, bad radios, and pure uncut arrogance from high command. Director Richard Attenborough puts you right in the chaos, orchestrating one of the most insane ensemble casts ever assembled to tell a story of monumental failure from every single angle. The real General Browning was married to the legendary novelist Daphne du Maurier. After the war, she watched him struggle with severe PTSD from the operation's failure. His haunted, changed personality became the direct inspiration for the dark, psychologically tormented men in some of her most famous books. The trauma of that one bridge echoed through British literature for decades. This is a brutal lesson in how grand plans become intensely personal tragedies. A stunning heavyweight film about the true cost of ambition.
Now, I've heard of A Bridge Too Far. I don't think I've seen it, though. If I have, it was a long time ago, but I don't think I've seen it. Star-studded cast. Richard Attenborough. Wow. Wait, is this the Richard Attenborough? I think it is David Attenborough's brother? Sure. It is. The Jurassic Park guy. Wow. I didn't know he was also a film director. I thought he was just an actor guy. Sean Connery, Ryan O'Neal, Michael Caine, Laurence Olivier, and a bunch of people I've heard of. Gene Hackman. Man. Yeah, I need to see that.
How history and cinema collide. And if you want...
Y'all haven't said this yet, but be sure to go to Vintage Verse and like and subscribe. I'm not subscribed, I'm doing that now, and I'm gonna like it. Thank you, Vintage Verse.
More of them, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. This film is the antidote to every glorious war movie you've ever seen. You're on a tiny British corvette in the North Atlantic where the only real star is the ocean itself. This isn't about heroes, it's about the endless, grinding routine of exhaustion, freezing cold, and the constant gut-twisting fear of a U-boat you can't see. You watch a good captain, played by the brilliant Jack Hawkins, get worn down to the bone by impossible choices. This war has no front line, just a vast gray hell that demands everything from you. To capture that authentic misery, the director skipped the safe studio tank and took his cast out on a real World War II corvette into the rough English Channel. The actors were constantly, violently seasick.
Yeah, I bet.
That exhausted, green around the gills look on their faces isn't a performance, it's the look of men genuinely suffering. The director didn't just film a story, he captured an ordeal. The most honest film ever made about the cold, bleak hell of naval warfare.
Oh my gosh. I get seasick very easy. In fact, I've only been sailing one time, and that one time I got so sick that I've not been back. The Cruel Sea. Another great premise. Something I really like about these older movies are the premises, because they can be very simple but totally compelling. You don't need a bunch of competing villains and, extreme action and CGI to make it good. Jack Hawkins, Donald Sinden, John Stratton, Denholm Elliott, John Warner, Stanley Baker. Let's look at the trivia. Jack Hawkins said, all of us in the film were sure that we were making something quite unusual and a long way removed from the Errol Flynn taking Burma single-handed syndrome. This was the period of some very indifferent American war movies, whereas The Cruel Sea contained no false heroics. Awesome. That is why we all felt that we were making a genuine example of the way in which a group of men went to war. That makes me want to watch it. The most successful film at the UK box office in 1953, as well as a surprise hit in the US. Wow. Donald Sinden had lessons to make him talk in a higher-pitched manner, as the producers felt his real voice was too deep for the young character he played. Interesting. He had lessons to do that? I mean, try acting.
The special effects in this film were so revolutionary. They gave George Lucas the blueprint for destroying the Death Star. The Dam Busters is a movie of two perfect halves. First, you're in the lab with the brilliant engineer Barnes Wallis, watching him wrestle with an impossible physics problem: how to destroy German dams with a bomb that can literally skip across water. It's a slow burn story of trial, error, and sheer dogged determination. Then, you're in the cockpit of a Lancaster bomber for the raid itself, a terrifying, low-level flight straight into a storm of anti-aircraft fire.
Top Gun.
The climactic sequence was so brilliantly shot that George Lucas used the actual footage as a placeholder while editing the Star Wars trench run.
Whoa.
The pacing, the pilot chatter, the flak bursts, it's all there.
Really?
That, plus its unforgettable theme music, cemented this film as a cornerstone of British cinema. It's the ultimate story of ingenuity under pressure. The definitive story of a crazy idea that actually worked.
Well, now I have to watch that. That looks good too. The Dam Busters. I've not heard of it. 1955. Who directed it? Michael Anderson, Richard Todd, Michael Redgrave, Ursula Jeans, Basil Sidney, Patrick Barr, Ernest Clark. Let's read some trivia. I love a good slow burn film that really pulls you in. There was no follow-up raid because aerial photography showed that the new anti-air raid defenses on the dam installed after the attack would have made a second raid suicidal. This reminds me of Top Gun, too, the second Top Gun, where they have to fly in low under the radar or whatever, which is kind of dumb because you could just send a drone, but, don't want to get in the way of a good movie. Upon hearing of the immense 40% fatality rate sustained, with 53 men killed along with 3 captured, Barnes Wallis is said to have burst into tears. Despite his experience as one of Britain's leading wartime engineers, he was a pacifist at heart. In 1969, Wallis spoke of how the most regrettable matter of the whole project was the fact that a large number of women and children drowned because they busted the dam. Oh my God. Wow. That looks good too. I want to see the parts that George Lucas used. That would be really interesting to watch them back to back.
You don't just watch this movie, you survive it.
I've seen
Christopher Nolan drops you right onto the beach with 400,000 soldiers who are little more than sitting ducks. This isn't about generals and war rooms. It's a raw, immersive experience told across 3 timelines: a week on land, a day at sea, and an hour in the air. The goal isn't to tell you a story in the traditional sense, it's to make you feel the relentless, ticking clock tension of the evacuation in your bones.
That worked.
With minimal dialogue to distract you from the chaos. And the reason you feel that constant rising panic is a deliberate audio trick. The entire score is built around a sound illusion called a shepherd tone, a pitch that feels like it's endlessly rising, but never actually resolves. Nolan literally weaponized sound design to put your nervous system on edge for 106 minutes straight. A stunning technical achievement, a film that wages war directly on your nerves, an absolute masterclass in sustained, visceral tension.
Oh my God, I love Dunkirk. I thought it was a masterpiece. I still think it's a masterpiece. The only thing that I don't like about it is the casting of Harry Styles in it. It kind of pulled me out of it. Like, oh, that's Harry Styles. But I love the casting of the main guy because I don't know who the hell he is. Also, Tom Hardy's in it, but that wasn't distracting for some reason. I don't know.
What's stronger, the laws of the universe or a pilot in love? This film places its bet hard. An RAF pilot jumps from his burning Lancaster bomber.
David Niven? Is that David Niven? I think it is.
And survives because the angel sent to collect him got lost in the fog. Now he has to argue for his new life in a cosmic court.
What?
You see the living world in dazzling technicolor, while the afterlife is a stark, beautiful monochrome. It's a fantasy made for a nation that desperately needed to believe in second chances. Starring David Niven, Kim Hunter, Roger Livesey, and Raymond Massey, the cast sells every note of romance, wit, and celestial drama. Martin Scorsese calls A Matter of Life and Death a revelation. What stunned him was that opening credit, written, produced, and directed by Michael Powell and Emeric Pressburger. To him and his friends, it marked the film as dangerous, different. They passed it around like contraband. That giant stairway to heaven was a real escalator nicknamed Ethel. It was 106 steps high, had no handrails, and terrified the actors who had to ride it. A film made with breathtaking ambition and an even bigger heart. The most beautiful argument for a second chance ever put on film.
Wow. This does sound familiar. I've definitely not seen it. I like when films use different formats to designate different parts of the story, even if it's just black and white and color. I like that. I don't think it's used enough. I think a lot of people consider it like an old trick or trite, but I like it. I think it works well. I don't think we do it enough. David Niven, Kim Hunter, Robert Coote, Kathleen Byron, Richard Attenborough again. Oh, here he is acting. He played an English pilot. Bonner Corleone. Wait, what year did this come out? 46. What was the movie he directed? I've already forgotten. Oh, he passed away in 2014. I didn't know that. Rest in peace, Richard. Thanks for your work. The Great Escape. Oh. Actor. Director. In Love and War? Was that it? No. He directed Chaplin? What? Wow. Chorus line. He directed a chorus line? And Gandhi? What? A Bridge Too Far is what he directed. Okay. That was in 77. Okay. Wow. I'm so impressed with him. So he was acting in that 46 film. He played a British pilot, and then in 30 years later, he directed A Bridge Too Far.
The bridge on the River Kwai.
Yes.
A jungle camp.
I love
a
this
broken army
film.
of prisoners.
I
disease,
love it.
Sweat, cruelty, and in the middle of it all, Alec Guinness, stiff-backed, unshakable, a colonel who refuses to bow. The
His
heat
voice.
doesn't just exhaust you here; it breeds a special kind of madness. You're in a Japanese POW camp where the British CO, Colonel Nicholson, becomes obsessed, not with escape, but with building a perfect bridge for his enemy, just to prove British superiority. You watch as his rigid code of honor curdles into a dangerous, egomaniacal delusion, a slow descent into the insanity of misplaced pride, where the line between duty and collaboration dissolves into a battle of wills.
Oh, right.
Director David Lean matched that on-screen obsession.
David Lean again.
He had a real, full-scale railway bridge built in the jungles of Ceylon. For the climax, they packed it with dynamite to blow it up with a train on it. The main cameraman missed the shot, so they had to partially rebuild it and blow the entire thing up, a second time. The sheer, costly ambition of it all is staggering. A masterpiece about pride, obsession, and the price of victory. Still one of the greatest war epics ever filmed.
It's funny how sometimes films become a film about the making of the film. They built this bridge, cameraman misses it, so had to build it again, and it's like this, oh, we gotta build a bridge. But during the film, that's what they're doing, like, oh, we gotta build a bridge. You know? Bridge over River Kwai, that's a classic. I've seen it at least twice, and I might have to watch it a third time. The Bridge on the River Kwai. David Lean, man. William Holden is the other guy I recognize, right? I always forget about him. He was in Sunset Boulevard, I believe. Jack Hawkins. Sesu Hayakawa, James Donald, Jeffrey Horn, Andre Morell, Peter Williams, John Boxer, Percy Herbert, Harold Goodwin. Man, what a great film. Amazing. Let's look at some trivia. The elephants employed in helping build the bridge would take breaks every 4 hours and lie around in the water, whether the crew wanted them to or not. Good for the elephants. I love elephants. Initially, Sir Alec Guinness had doubts about playing the role of Colonel Nicholson. Guinness had become a much-loved figure on screen, appearing in a series of popular comedies. The Nicholson character seemed humorless, unlovable, and perhaps even dull. To remedy this, Guinness tried to inject some humor into his portrayal of the Colonel. Director Sir David Lean was very much opposed to this idea, insisting that it be played straight. Thus began an argument between the two men that continued through filming. I think David Lean was right. I've heard that Alec Guinness didn't treat his wife so great because he had issues from his parents or something. I don't know. I forgive him. At one point during filming, director Sir David Lean nearly drowned when he was swept away by a river current. Actor Jeffrey Horn saved his life. Jeffrey Horn, I hope you got compensated for that. Sesu Hayakawa edited his copy of the script to contain only his lines of dialogue. This way he remained oblivious to the real nature of his character's fate. But if you already read it and edited the lines out, you would know. And how do you know what your cue is? How do you know when to speak? There's got to be more to that story. After filming was completed on the exploding bridge sequence, which cost an enormous amount of money and time, rumor has it that the footage disappeared somewhere between Ceylon and London. It was finally discovered 2 weeks later, sitting in the intense heat out on the runway at the airport in Cairo, Egypt. Miraculously, it was undamaged. So they build this bridge. They blow it up. The camera wasn't filming. They build a second bridge. They blow it up. They got that one, but the film gets left on the runway at the airport in Cairo, Egypt for 2 weeks. Somebody didn't want this film to get made. Sir Alec Guinness never saw the bridge blow up. He had completed all of his scenes and returned to England when the explosion was filmed. Good for him. Got to go home.
The local poacher, the lady of the manor, the cheerful shopkeeper. You think you know these people. This film shows you what happens when their backs are against the wall. From Ealing Studios, this is not a comedy. German paratroopers disguised as British soldiers take over a sleepy English village, and the postcard charm curdles into a nightmare. What follows is a brutal, desperate fight for survival, where ordinary people become ruthless killers with shotguns, axes, and anything else they can grab. The real villagers of Turville, where this was shot, thought they were hosting a quaint little film. They were reportedly horrified when their homes appeared as a bloody battleground on screen.
Oh, man.
But the shock was the whole point. A cold, sharp wake-up call. A propaganda masterpiece that weaponizes the English countryside.
That looks good. What was it called again? Went the day well? Went the day well? Okay. In 1942 that came out. That's... wow. During the war. I bet that did freak people out. Because the war was still going on. That's a brilliant story. It reminds me of the movie Red Dawn. Have you heard of that? It's, takes place in like a small town in America, and the Cubans invade, and this group of teenagers band together and take them down. Leslie Banks, C.V. France, Valerie Taylor, Marie Lohr, Harry Fowler, Norman Pierce, Frank Luton. I've heard of him. Lawton. Never mind, I haven't. Elizabeth Allen, Thrier. I want to see this. 42. 1942. When the man running the pub in the village where the film was being shot discovered that he had used up his alcohol ration on the film crew, he was so distraught he committed suicide. That's a dedicated pub owner. The film uses the same church that later appeared in The Vicar of Dibley. Basil Sidney, who played Major Ortler, refused to re-record some of his dialogue, saying that he was a member of a religious sect whose members were forbidden to look upon their own image. I might be inadvertently part of that sect because I don't like looking at myself. All these look pretty good. Y'all be sure to go to Vintage Verse and like and subscribe. Full disclosure, I did not get in touch with them to ask if I could react to this video. It's not letting me get their email address. So, well, these look really good. I'm gonna have to watch some. I've only seen a couple. Well, y'all, I'd like to say thanks to my patrons. Thanks to my Buy Me Coffee folks. Thank y'all for watching this with me. And I'll see y'all next time. Later.